How you all going? Um, got a few members of my alliance that are unsure on exactly how to trade. So what I'm going to do is do a quick video, mostly for them, but I thought I'll share it for everyone else on how to use the trading system in gunship battle. It is a little bit technical, or not really technical, but it's a little bit confusing to get your head around at first. I remember when I first started, I had a few issues. I'll also touch base on a few other ways you can make silver. Um, One of them obviously being what I'm doing now, hitting an Armada base. They don't stock a lot of silver though, so it's not exactly one of the best ways to be getting silver. So for the trading, it's very simple. The first thing you really want to do is have a trade ship. So I've got an Arleigh Burke here. Um, in the upgrades, you really want the max capacity. This just allows you to carry more. So when you go and purchase, if you do get a high profit item, you can purchase more of it and make a larger profit. I've also got sailing speed. I'm not too sure if that actually works while sailing on the map or whether it's an actual combat bonus, but I've just chucked it in there. As you can see though, that's the only upgrades I've got on this. This is purely for trading. This doesn't leave my base or doesn't leave trade routes. So once you've got that set up, there are other ways you can increase the capacity through research, also headgear. You can put destroyer class. Every ship has different capabilities for capacity as well. So have a look at what ship you've got access to and which ones carry the most cargo, and then use that one. The worst thing you want to be doing is using a Duke, for example, which holds a lot less than a Seawolf or significantly less than a Burke. Ticks actually carry a lot more than the Dukes do. So once you've got your ship set up, just go to your trade warehouse, and on the right hand side you'll see in blue writing it'll have profit 33%, profit 10%, profit 29%. These are just one item in each of these cities that has that percent rate. Once you get to the city, one, the prices may have changed, and two, there could be other items there with a higher profit rating. So it's all pot luck. Now, before you do launch, I do recommend you use trade sailing speed. However, 12 hours, 24 hours, depends. This really isn't something that you do solely on the game. Like, you don't just sit here and trade all day. You'll usually have a trade ship running around while you're doing Armada bases or other activities, or I generally will log on while at work and check things and send me trade ship from one city to another. It's definitely not something you sit here doing constantly. So I only use the 12-hour buff for it. So you just click on trade on the left hand side on whichever one you want. It'll pull you to a selection, select the ship you want, and click sail. Now this has got a 9.5-minute sail, even with my buff on it. So what I'll do is I'll try and speed it up so I don't have to wait too long. Whilst I wait for it to land, I'll go through a couple of other ways you can create or get silver. One of the other ways you can get silver, because it is one of the harder ones to get, and once you do get to our levels, or my level, sorry, where you're at the level 26 mark, things do start costing a lot of silver. This one here is 235,000 silver. Even your So one of the other ways you can make silver, or earn silver actually in this particular method, is by donating to your alliance's research or building constructions. Now this does vary from alliance to alliance, because what actually happens is the leader has to pay that reward out to you. So you would just donate. My alliance isn't building any buildings at the moment, so we're only researching. So you just donate, it builds up points for you, and it all comes into your contribution records. So I'm currently sitting at 5th for the most contributions for the Alliance. If the top right, you can see what the total Alliance funds are and the estimated dividends. So I'm looking, if I was to hit pay dividends, I'd be looking at 178,000 silver at the present moment. As I said though, it does depend on your Alliance. I am very particular. Every particular day a week, I will pay dividends out to my Alliance. I have heard of alliances that do it daily. I've heard of alliances that don't actually do it at all. Um, so it's sheer pot luck as to whether or not your alliance does it and when they do it. But that is another way that you can get silver. It does cost you in other resources, but um, it also helps out your alliance too. So I'd always recommend doing it. But being the leader of the alliance, of course, I will. Um, Now, the other way you can make silver is through the black market. Now, it's not the best way. Um, it's actually probably the way I dump silver rather than earn silver. So I would use silver in here for buying things like iron and food. I really don't use it to buy silver, but you do sometimes get it where you can buy silver with food or iron or oil. I just really don't find that it gives you a substantial enough amount to warrant worrying about doing it that way. Um, they're basically the only other way is through fighting other people. But I've always found that fighting other people probably normally will cost you more in resources than what it's worth, unless you go and find a really small alliance and you're from a big alliance. That causes a whole new ballgame of issues. Anyway, going back to trading, up in the top left here, underneath their anchor, I'll just pull it out so you can see it. You'll see city. I don't even know how to say that city, but if you click on that, it'll take you to the city that your ship is in. Now, your trade ship is in it. Usually, when you click on a city, you can't enter it, but because your ship is in there, you can now enter. So if you hit enter and you go in, you'll see now there's 3 recommended. Um, there's one of 6% profit, one of 33% profit, and one of 21%. Now it was actually a 33% profit that actually made me send the ship here, which is what I was saying. It's sheer pot luck. You could get to the city and one of these could have 40% or more. Um, it's not always the one that you send your ship to is not always the highest profit in that city. It's just a recommended for you. Um, Basically, you don't have to really worry about much more. This just tells you what alliance owns it. The sell tab you can't click because you don't have anything to sell. So what you would do is you'll purchase an item. So we're going to go with this item here because it's 33%. Now before I do that though, I'll explain what happens when you get to the other end so I don't have to continue making a video. So when you'll pull the line across, purchase it for 16,000. I'll show you what happens after that. Once you get to the next city, you do the same thing to enter, come in, but you'll actually be able to click the sell button, sell what you have, then come back to the purchase button and go through the recommended items for that city. The recommended items are the only items that will make your profit. The rest will not make your profit. You'll lose. Sometimes you will get to the city and go to sell and you'll sell at a loss. I'm not 100% sure why this happens. It's very rare that it ever happens with me. I do have a few members that have actually really don't like trading because of it though. You will also get sometimes an issue where when you get to the city, you won't actually have this see recommended trade on the right hand side. You'll only see the red arrows or the blue arrows. A while ago, I used to just randomly pick one that had the red arrow with the red percentage and try my luck. I did get it a few times there where the item didn't make a profit for me, so I've stopped doing that. And I do recommend that if you get to the city and there isn't a C recommended trade and you can't see what the profit is, return your ship home and start again. So that's basics of it. So you just purchase it. It'll come up with all this stuff. You just go confirm, trade, and away your ship goes to the next city. It's really simple. As you can see, we can't enter the city now. But once that ship gets to the next city, as I said, you'll just enter it, go to the sell option, sell your item, go back to the purchase option, and have a look at the recommended trade items and pick the highest profit one and send it off again. It's about really the only thing. Now, if you haven't done trading at all before, don't get too concerned when you see your silver count continuously going down while your trade ship is out. Your trade ship actually has the silver on it. So whilst you're trading from city to city, you're using silver from your storage, but your profit isn't going to go into your storage until your trade ship returns back to base. So don't panic too much. You're not losing all your silver. But this also is actually a bit of a sneaky way to hide your silver if you've got a large abundance of it, or if you're trading really heavily and you're over capacity. Instead of using your Alliance depot for silver, you can use that for your other resources and hide your silver ship with all its silver in the cities. The only way that that gets interrupted is if the city goes up for city conquest. Then all trade ships inside that city get sent back to base automatically. Otherwise, guys, that's trading in a nutshell. Not really any other way that you can make silver. You might make a little bit out of the Armada fleets, but that's all random resource. And it doesn't really give you a substantial amount either. The best way and the recommended way is to trade. Hope that helps. Let me know if there's anything else you want to know about, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thanks, guys. Have a nice day.